Gong, Wendy's also worried about the sustainability of old age security and the Canadian pension plan, especially given how much money Ottawa's pouring into COVID relief packages now. Do you have any inside knowledge there or anything to say about OAS or CPP?
What I can say is, the government put out a lot of stimulus during this crisis, but as a professional, it's impossible for me to predict what the government will do to their programs. However, during the financial planning process, the planner normally use the best estimate of their available for our clients to make the best decision. If you look at it today, then we'll give you the correct, for example, taxation assumptions, and everything will be up to date. But no one can predict the future. If future, happens, some bad things happens, then, like I said earlier, it's a good time to review the plan to make sure you're still on track. And there's certain strategies, your planners will be able to do for you at that time. But I wouldn't think pessimistically about the government actions in the future. Focus on what can you do today to prepare for you in the future.
That's a very smart piece of advice. And the only thing I can say as somebody who watches politics is that no government is going to want to be the government that cancels either of those programs. So I personally can't imagine it happening. We have a few more questions to get to from some folks who follow us on Instagram. Tara Skibo wants to know about mortgage deferral programs that banks are offering right now. Do you have the ability to explain how they work and who qualifies?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge. These things are really explained in details on the CMHC website, and we call it Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporations. So I think early on I read an article called Understanding Mortgage Payment Deferrals. So, I can quickly summarize that article for Tara. So basically, deferral your mortgage is essentially a temporary agreement that you and your mortgage lender, you agree to postpone the payment for this plan. It's really a liquidity measure for temporary, in this situation, the COVID-19, right? People have problems finding liquidity to pay their mortgage, but it's not a way to, the mortgage amount you own will not disappear. And then you have to be careful when you make this decision. If you really need it, of course you should do it. But the interest part of the deferral will be added to your principals going forward. So this can actually extend your mortgage obligation period slightly, right? And then maybe later on you have some money, you can put it back, which you can. So it's really a temporary liquidity measure, I'll say. It's not simply that you don't have to pay these mortgages. So I hope people can understand that and make the rational decisions. But let me say this: if you have the ability to pay your mortgage, I strongly advise you to. You should keep paying it. Although right now I don't think any mortgage lenders will have penalties of deferring mortgages. Normally they do, but in this situation, I think most of them eliminate late payments or anything like that, just to help out the homeowners.
So that's fabulous. You just answered Tara's second question as well, which was why would someone want to take advantage of a mortgage deferral? And your answer would be, if you absolutely have to, you absolutely have to. But if you can possibly continue, do continue. You'll be better off in the long run.
That's right, because the deferral part of the interest will be added on, and then it's added on to your principal, and it's also generating additional interest. So overall, if you have a fixed rate mortgage, you'll be paying more because of the deferral than you originally planned.
So moving on now to a question from Kyra Crawford we got from Instagram. Kyra was asking about, again with mortgages, what percentage of an income should go toward a mortgage?
Oh, this is a tough question, Kara. It's really a personal choice, I would say. Perhaps a mortgage specialist who's doing the lending can better answer that question. So I urge you to reach out to your financial institutions or your current lender to have a discussion about what is the maximum loan-to-value ratio. Sorry, I'm going to throw out some jargons there. You can have. So, but again, some people enjoy the big house, they might pay a little bit more percentage relatively to their income. Some people rather have a simple life. They want a small portion of the income to go to the mortgage. So this is really a personal choice question. So please reach out to your financial institutions. I'm sure they'll be glad to help you.
This is another personal choice question, I suspect. Sarah Peters wants to know about, she's trying to decide purchasing a house versus renting a house. What's wiser in terms of using her income right now? Do I buy? Do I rent? What would you say?
Well, from personal experiences and also professional expertise, I can tell Sarah this. So in the investment world, the real assets like your real estate properties are actually classified as inflation hedging assets. So which belongs to another big category called alternative asset class, right? That's investment asset class. So more and more modern portfolios that we'll see start to allocate money or funds to these asset classes, real asset classes, to achieve diversification and potentially higher risk-adjusted investment returns. So owning a home certainly gives you more freedom and flexibility, but it can cost a little bit more in the front. For example, you have a property taxes, other things. Well, utilities probably go up. You probably have to water your lawn, things like that, right? So from a pure cash flow standpoint, you might be, giving out a little bit more money in the front. However, assuming the property is a inflation hedging property and over time the inflation will go up and then your property value can also appreciate over time. So at the end of the day, maybe you can sell that property at a higher value and which can lead to recapture of some of all of your upfront cost, which could make you ahead. But again, this is really a personal choice question. You have to ask yourself, what's the best in your case? Because it's impossible to answer what is right for you with this very limited knowledge of your financial background.
Do you want to mow the lawn? Do you want to keep up with the painting and replace the windows and all that stuff that goes with house ownership? So those are the questions you got to ask yourself. Finally, this is a great one to end with, I think. Heather McMains asks, what would be your tips on how to teach budgeting to a teen or young adult?
I think I often heard people say, I don't receive much from the classroom, or and I learn everything on myself after I graduate school. But that is sometimes not simply true, right? We have a lot of classes. Maybe I graduated from a business school, but there's a lot of classes teaching you the personal finance side. For example, I always pay attention in classroom when I studied in Canada, and then simply as I will urge the young people to, start by understand what is the TFSA account, the tax-free saving account. What is my RESP? How does it work? Most people will have RESP supported education one way or the other. And understand your parents' RSP. Starting something simple to understand some concept that's highly relevant to your life. And you know what? Go to the bank and open a bank account, right? And talk to your the advisor to help you open a bank account and understand how credit cards works. These are like things that we do on a daily basis. And when you purchase online, you have to punch in credit card numbers and the password and simply understand how does it work? How does the interest get added on? And then know the consequences of not paying back the credits that you own. Normally credit cards have a very high interest rate associated. And then after that, maybe try to understand what the interest rate is and how it will impact the broader economy and the stock market, right? And also, one last tip I'll say, simply help out your parents or grandma on their taxes. When they're filing their personal taxes every year, reach out to them. If they allow you to help them, then maybe through helping them, then you can learn a lot of practical knowledge. And then you will be how to communicate it to Canada Revenue Agency going forward.
That's actually a really great tip that I had never thought of. So good on you.
Thank you.
Gong Wang, it's been just delightful having you chat with us. I think you've offered a lot of great advice. Any final thoughts as we leave people in this time when money can seem a little too scarce?
Yes, absolutely. I think right now is more for people, more important than ever for people to realize you really need a financial plan, going forward. Because I can tell you this, nothing is certain, but uncertainty is certain. We're going to face uncertainty no matter what, right? Our projections of the interest rates, stay at low is probably going to be even longer. That is basically the tone. So what I'm saying is you should really reach out to professionals when you're dealing with this. It's like when you are sick, you want to see a doctor to have a treatment plan, right? Same thing. When you think your financial situation is not so bright, reach out to the professionals, and they're there to help you. They are trained in this field, and then I think no advisors will deny to help you. So reach out to them, have a financial plan, clearly understand your goals and objectives for the long run. If you're about to retire, then retirement planning is not something you do before you retire. You can start to plan your retirement, 10, 20 years ahead. So if you do these things, you will find out that actually it's not that difficult to, simply put a long-term goal and then stick to it. So reach out to the professionals and have a plan ready, and you will find it really beneficial.
Gong Wang, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. It's really my honor to be able to speak to you and the people on this subject matter. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone who's watching. Thank you for sending in your questions. Stay with us because we're going to be talking about mental health issues next week, and we'd love your questions. You can send them to talkback@cbc.ca and just put in the subject line, question about mental health. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.